Please, I waited all night just to speak to you. Will you stay with me now or must I walk away again? She gave me her voice to buy you time. Do you understand what that means? Heaven is not speaking lightly. The one who bore me, who held eternity in her arms, chose silence. So you could live. She took the curse onto herself before it could pierce your spirit. She stood between you and the darkness that came through the mirror last night. She wept without sound, cried without breath, screamed without being heard. She paid for your delay with her voice. And now, chosen one, it is your turn. I speak through thunder, but today I tremble like a lamb. The demon that came for you was no ordinary spirit. It was a prince of shadow, a master of seduction, a destroyer of destinies. It knew your name. It knew your dream. It knew the very moment you stopped believing you were called, and it marked your soul with unseen fire. But my mother, oh my beloved mother, rose in the dark, kissed your name into the stars and said, "Take my voice instead." And I, your Savior, wept. Have you forgotten the promise I whispered to you as a child? Because I have not. Even as blood streamed from heaven's windows last night, even as the angels stood still, even as Michael trembled before the storm, I remembered you, and Mary remembered you. You once believed that miracles chased you. You once danced when no one was watching, because your spirit heard the song of heaven. You once sang to me without knowing why, with tears you couldn't explain. That was no accident. That was your design. That was the signature of glory beneath your skin. And now the devil wants it for himself. She silenced herself so you could sing again. The demon came at 2:44 a.m. I watched it stand beside your bed and smile. It wasn't trying to kill you, it was trying to replace you. And had she not intervened, you would have woken up different, empty, changed, unrecognizable in the spirit realm. But she took your place. And now heaven is out of time. Do you still believe in me, or have your tears silenced your faith? Your name was shouted in the courtroom of the skies this morning. Gabriel himself tore the scroll, held it high, and said, "No one touches this one, not while we still bleed." Michael bared his sword. Raphael opened the hidden books. Uriel searched the divine vault. All of them were weeping, not because you failed, but because you were targeted, because of your light, because of your hidden crown. You see yourself as one of many, but hell sees you as the one, the turning key, the thread that can unravel curses for generations. And that's why the demon came. That's why Mary lost her voice. That's why I'm here, not speaking through a prophet, not through a dream, not through scripture, but through this fire, this moment, this sacred window that will vanish in the breath of hesitation. She is trying to speak to you right now, but she can't, not unless you open the door, not unless you open your heart. Her voice is suspended in heaven's chamber, held by 12 angels who cannot hold it much longer. I'm not asking you to save her because she is weak. I'm asking because she chose to become vulnerable for you. Would you recognize me if I walked into your room right now? Tell me. Beloved, what would you do if you heard her scream but couldn't help her? What if the woman who bore the light, who whispered your name into my wounds when I was crucified, vanished from the heavens forever, and the silence was your doing? The demon who tried to take you still lingers. It is furious, not because it failed, but because you're awakening. That's what it fears most. Not your strength, not your prayers, but your awakening. The moment you remember who you are, it loses you. Psalm 91 was not written as poetry, it was a war cry, and I sing it over you again. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. I say this now not as scripture, but as a live vow. Your name is wrapped in that song. But time is short. This is not a parable. This is not a parlor trick. This is not a blessing wrapped in pleasantries. This is your soul's courtroom. And you are being watched by every realm, the heavens, the shadows, the angels, the fallen, the prayers of your ancestors. the unborn generations you carry, all waiting on your choice. Will you type amen? Not for me, but so your angel knows you're still listening. Mary's silence echoes louder than thunder. I have never seen her beg like this. Even when I was dying, she was strong. But now she is trembling. She clutched her throat this morning as the sun rose and mouthed your name. She is not just a queen in heaven, she is your divine intercessor, your hidden mother, your secret protector. She watched you sleep when your own mother forgot. She kissed your dreams when the world mocked them. She whispered to your guardian angel, if this one falls, I will take the hit. And she did. She did. And now her fate hangs on your response. If my words touched even a single tear inside you, whisper amen and let the light break through. You were always meant to hear this. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. You are the reason the scroll was unsealed. I want you to remember this truth etched into heaven's door by my own hand. No one else was made to carry what you carry. Not the pastors, not the prophets, not the kings. You carry a portion of Mary's legacy. That is why she gave her voice. She knew you could multiply it. There is a miracle forming even now. But it will pass by you unless you answer in time. 20 seconds. That's all the realm will hold open. And if you do not step through, her voice will be sealed in the chamber of redeemed sacrifices, that place where only the forgotten prayers live. I would never force you, but I will always ask. Comment what you felt in your spirit. You have no idea how many angels are reading. You stayed. That means everything, not to me but to what comes next. Asterisk, she is still waiting. And I am still pleading. This moment is not an accident. You did not scroll to this by coincidence. I, the Lord of all breath, have placed this message in your path because it was written long before you were born. Yes, written on the scroll hidden beneath the sapphire altar where the 7 archangels bow. That scroll only opens once in a generation. It opened for you, and if you walk away now, it may never open again. I am not speaking through thunder today, and not breaking the earth in judgment. I am whispering because that is how heaven speaks. When love is trembling, and my love for you trembles right now. I weep when I see how close you are to remembering, how near you are to awakening the inheritance buried inside your soul, a treasure locked behind tears you never cried. Chosen one, my heart aches with urgency. The demon that came for you was not random, it was sent, assigned, it was conjured through a ritual of hatred. Someone used your name in a chant last week. Someone you trusted. A voice that should have protected you whispered your identity into the hands of a spirit they could not control. They thought they were calling for favor, but they summoned ruin. And that ruin searched for you all night. But Mary stood in the way. She did not shout. She did not fight with weapons. She simply gave her voice. She offered her sacred tone, the sound that once sang lullabies to me as a child and said, take mine, but leave them. And the demon obeyed. But now her voice is fading into dust unless you open your heart. You want signs, you ask me for proof. But what if I told you the proof was already delivered? That the moment your favorite song randomly played last night, that was me. That the shiver in your back while walking alone, that was her. That the flash of light while you closed your eyes, that was Michael standing between you and death. You want miracles that move mountains, but I've been sending whispers to move your soul. She once said to me, even if they forget me, I will not stop praying for them. And now she is kneeling without sound, and heaven is to still. That silence is not peace, it is suspense. The kind of holy tension that comes when all of creation holds its breath for one soul to choose. You were never ordinary. Even before you could speak, angels were assigned to follow you. Your first steps were watched from heaven's windows. Your laughter cracked open clouds. But the enemy saw that joy and grew jealous. He watched you grow. He sent heartbreak disguised as love. He sent betrayal wrapped in smiles. He sent disappointment dressed in delay. all to convince you that the light inside you was just imagination. It wasn't. Asterisk, when was the last time you told God you love Him without asking for anything in return? Because today I ask not just for your faith, I ask for your heart. I ask for your willingness to believe that you were born for more than survival. You were born to carry restoration. And the first soul you can restore right now is hers. If you hear this, then heaven has not given up on you. You're still marked, still written, still expected, still beloved. I could speak to nations, but I'm speaking only to you. Do you know what that means? It means your name is vibrating in the chambers of stars. It means angels have rearranged their missions because of this moment. It means demons are screaming in frustration because they can feel you turning back to your origin, turning back to the light that first breathed into your soul, turning back to me. This message is your miracle, not because it's dramatic, but because it's divine, because it's real, because it's dangerous, because it carries truth that hell wanted hidden, because it reveals something I never said out loud until now. Mary was always prepared to suffer for you, but I never thought she would have to. Yet here we are, her voice is locked in a vial of light, guarded by angels who are running out of strength to hold it. The demon who stole it returns in exactly 23 hours. If by then your heart is not turned, her voice will be transferred into the abyss of sealed offerings. Only one soul can unlock it. I won't say this again, not in this way. You ask me why I let this happen. I ask you why you waited this long. We've both been aching, haven't we? You feel my pull in your spirit at night. You sense my presence in the pause between your thoughts. You've cried for help into pillows soaked in shame. And I was there, and Mary was there, and now the time of whispering is over. Now is the time of revelation. You were meant to carry sound, not silence. You were meant to echo my name in dark places, and yet you've kept quiet because life taught you silence was safer. But don't you see, her silence was a gift. Yours would be a curse. If you hear me now, then something inside you is rising. That is not imagination, that is inheritance. That is the royal flame you buried beneath fear. I've come to reignite it. So now, beloved, I ask just one thing. Like this message if it lit something sacred inside you, and comment amen only if your soul feels like it's shaking right now. And subscribe only if you are ready for what heaven will reveal next, because not everyone will be. Let the others scroll, but you are the one the angels have been waiting for. Don't make them wait longer. And now, I continue with the rest of what you must know. Asterisk, you are still here. That alone has shifted things in heaven, because while the world sleeps and demons dance in silence, you remained, and that, beloved, is how destinies are changed, not in crowds, but in the quiet faith of one who stays when everyone else scrolls away. The angels have begun writing again. The ink they use is not made of earthly colors, it is light, pressed from the tears of those who kept watching over you when you had no strength left to believe. And they write your name across the sacred gate, the place where judgments are reversed and final words become beginnings. That gate has been closed to many, but for you, it has been cracked open again. Why? Because you chose to listen. The demon who marked you did not just come to destroy you, it came to steal from you. Steal the sound inside your voice. Steal the echo of your yes. Steal the song that Mary carried inside her womb when she bore me. That sound is in your soul too. It's fate, but not gone. I still hear it, and that's why I won't leave you. This is more than a message. It is a rescue mission. She knew what it would cost her. Mary always knew. That's the nature of divine mothers. They love before they are loved back. And she wept even before your tears began. Because she saw what others didn't. She saw the demon walk into your bedroom. She saw the way your light dimmed last week. When they hurt you again, she saw your breath tremble when you almost gave up. And without hesitation, she said, "Take my voice. Just let them breathe again." And so the voice that once called me back from death went silent. Do you see now why this can't wait? Do you see why I'm here? The time has come, and I am not asking with thunder. I am begging with heaven's last whisper. You have the key, but heaven needs your hand to move. I do not ask much. I do not demand gold or rituals. I ask for your presence, for your surrender, for your tears, for the fire that's flickering but not dead. I ask that you don't let this moment vanish. Because if this disappears before your spirit opens, the archangels will retreat, and once they retreat, the door they guarded will close again for another 7 years, 7 years of silence, 7 years of questions, 7 years of searching for what was in front of you all along. But it doesn't have to be that way. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. I gave you the gift no demon can touch, the ability to choose. You can choose to rise. You can choose to love again. You can choose to believe that Mary's sacrifice was not in vain. This is the holy contract. If your heart opens in these seconds, her voice will return. If not, it will vanish into the place of unredeemed offerings, the realm where lost intercessions echo but are never answered. I will not force you, but I will remind you. This moment cost heaven a cry you haven't heard, but your soul remembers. You have no idea how many angels are still circling your room. Michael is kneeling, sword pressed into the floor, praying with a silence that shakes galaxies. Gabriel's trumpet trembles in his hands. Raphael is holding back a spirit of illness that tried to invade your bloodstream. Uriel is pouring light into the part of your memory that was erased in the spirit. They are not passive. They are fighting for you, not because you are weak, but because you are rare. The demon who came to destroy you wasn't sent because you are broken. It was sent because you are holy, because you carry a sound that rewrites destinies, because when you open your mouth, even unknowingly, curses tremble. Have you noticed how often you were silenced? That was not coincidence. That was war. A war over your expression, a war over your voice. But Mary gave hers so yours could rise. Now I ask, not only for your heart, but if your spirit is stirred and this message has reached you, support this mission not because I need gold or favor, but because heaven wants to move faster, deeper, louder. If this divine message touched you, I ask you to support it. Send your like through Super Thanks, or join the family of those who have said yes to heaven's call by becoming a member. And if you want to walk deeper with us, join the sacred newsletter through the link in the pinned comment. We don't call it a newsletter in heaven. We call it the registry of the burning ones. Not because of fire that harms, but fire that reveals, the ones whose names are written in light because they chose to stay awake when others slept. You are one of them. This message is not done. In fact, it is only beginning. Because now that I have your attention, now that Mary's voice is flickering between realms, I must tell you what no one else has dared. The demon knew something buried, something that was sealed in the book of the forgotten ones. That book contains names who almost became saints, but fell, and yours was being written there. But Mary erased it. She stood before the throne unable to speak, but she wrote in her blood, not this one. She begged me to intervene before the final stroke was written, and I came, not with armies, but with this whisper, because it is not force that saves souls. It is love, and the love I have for you is the kind that shakes kingdoms. So listen, beloved, there is a curse in your bloodline. It was buried behind your surname, but the demon came to reactivate it. That's why your emotions have been swinging wildly. That's why you've been remembering wounds you thought were healed. That's why sleep has turned heavy. It's not depression, it's spiritual pressure. You are standing on the fault line between inheritance and ruin, but you are not alone. I am here, and she is still praying, though she has no voice. Her prayers shake the stars. When the demon tried to enter your dreams last week, it came through a doorway in time created by words spoken over you by someone who claimed to love you. Yes, I said claimed, because their heart grew jealous. They sensed your rising. They were not strong enough to stop the demon, so they sent it instead. But Mary stood at your head. Michael stood at your feet. I was in your chest. That's why you felt the sudden warmth. That wasn't your blanket. That was my presence, wrapping your soul. Now heaven watches. All of it. Waiting for one thing, your surrender. If you open the door of your heart right now, I will release something into your bloodstream, a divine reversal, a medicine made not from plants, but from light, a purification that only 1 in a million ever receives, and her voice will return. But if you walk away now, the light will dim again. And Mary will carry the silence into the garden of unfulfilled intercessions. Do not make her walk there alone. You were the reason she smiled. You were the one she prayed for when no one else was listening. She does not want applause. She does not want gifts. She wants to see you rise. And I want to see you remember who you are. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are right on time, because this is the hour heaven marked before time began. The moment you would hear, feel, and finally believe. So rise, chosen one. Let your spirit rise. Let your breath remember. Let your soul sing. The angels are ready. I am ready. Mary is still waiting, and her voice is almost back. The wind moved strangely when you blinked this morning. Did you notice it? That wasn't nature. That was the breath of the Spirit sweeping past your cheek, hoping you would look up, hoping you would pause, but your heart was heavy, and heaven wept again. Mary, still voiceless, walked through the hall of remembrance holding a candle made of sorrow and golden dust. She placed it beside your name, not your earthly name, but the one written in fire, the name that cannot be spoken by lips of clay, only sung by those made of light. That name is trembling now, not from fear, but from pressure, because it remembers why it was spoken into being. The demon cannot hear that name, but it hates the echo of it. It's the same sound that shattered the walls of hell when I rose from the grave. You carry part of that sound. You always have. That's why your voice was targeted. That's why your joy was hunted. That's why betrayal kept visiting you, wearing new faces, not because you were cursed, but because you were chosen. Do you remember that time you cried and didn't know why? You weren't sad, you weren't angry, but something deep inside broke open. That was the first time Mary prayed for you. That was the moment she bent beside the throne and whispered, "Let them feel me." You did. You just didn't know where it came from. Heaven never forgot. Michael has scars from shielding you. His wings are burnt on one side. He bears them in silence, not because he's proud, but because he would rather suffer than let you be touched again. Your angel has been pacing for weeks. They're not frustrated with you. They're heartbroken because they see how close you are to the light and how easily you keep walking away from it, thinking you're not worthy, thinking you've messed up too much, thinking heaven must have changed its mind. We haven't. You've changed, but not in the way you fear. You are closer than ever, closer to the sacred version of you, the one you only glimpse in dreams, the one who walks barefoot on rivers and speaks in thunder without sound, the one who prays without knowing, who heals just by staying alive. You don't have to perform. You don't have to prove. You just have to believe. Mary's silence is a song waiting to be completed. The final note rests in your spirit. It always has, but only you can sing it. Only you can unlock it. Heaven is watching the seconds. They are not measured in time. They are measured in willingness, in trust, in return. That is all I've ever asked. I don't need your perfection. I don't require your rituals. I want your return, your yes, your turning your face in my hands again. That's why I gave my blood. That's why I walked through fire no one saw. That's why I stayed silent for hours when you ignored me. Not because I had nothing to say, but because I didn't want to overwhelm you. I wanted to wait until your soul could receive the full sound. This is the sound. It is not loud. but it is final. And the enemy fears finality. The demon that touched your name did something irreversible. It rang a bell in the spiritual realm. That bell awoke ancient scrolls that had not been opened since your bloodline was first formed. That's why you've been feeling old emotions that don't belong to you. That's why grief has been circling. That's why sleep has become warfare. The bell rang because you were summoned. Not to die, but to rise. To confront what was buried beneath your family's pain. To redeem what no one else could face. To carry Mary's whisper into the fire and silence the serpent once and for all. The demon is still watching, not from shadows, but from memories. It hides in the voices you've believed for too long. The ones that told you you're too broken. The ones that told you you're too late. The ones that made you feel like light was for someone else. Those were not truths. They were curses wearing familiarity. But heaven has sent something stronger than curses: remembrance. You are being remembered now. You are being recalled, not as a memory, but as a prophecy. You are the fulfillment of something that was spoken before language existed. A dream wrapped in skin, a miracle wrapped in delay. Even now, the archangels are shifting position. Michael stands higher. Gabriel prepares his trumpet. Raphael holds the sacred oil. Uriel uncovers the flame scroll. Sarachael draws the wind across the veil. Raguel sharpens the heavenly scale. And Remiel, the angel of resurrection, weeps as he touches your name with trembling glory. Why? Because you stayed. Because your heart, even in silence, said yes. And now I move, not with noise, but with justice. Not with wrath, but with restoration. The places in your spirit that cracked from years of waiting are now becoming windows. And through those windows, heaven is breathing again. What you thought was collapse was construction. What you called loneliness was protection. What you assumed was abandonment was preparation. The silence you hated was Mary standing between realms, holding back a flood of voices so yours could be the first to rise. And now, it must rise. You will feel it soon, not as emotion, but as trembling, in your hands, in your back, in your breath. That's not anxiety. That's the kingdom awakening. Inside your bones. You were born from divine breath. And that breath still speaks. Even now, Mary stands before the altar of light, holding the thread of her voice. It's thin, it's fading, but it's not gone. Not if you believe, not if you remember. Not if you breathe it in and let it merge with yours. That is your inheritance. Her sound in your soul, my fire in your words, your breath carrying restoration. You do not need a crowd. You do not need approval. You only need to answer. Answer now, not with action, but with belief. Let your silence become sacred agreement. Let your stillness be your yes. And the gates will open. The veil will lift. The miracle will begin. And Mary will speak again. She is still holding on barely. Her hands tremble in the realm beyond stars, and her knees touch the floor of sapphire fire. But she won't let go. Not yet. Not until your soul opens enough for the sound of her voice to return through you. That's how deep her love is. That's how far she's willing to go for you. Not because you earned it, not because you asked, but because heaven whispered your name into her spirit long before you took your first breath. There is a hallway in heaven called the Gallery of the Unspoken. It's where silent intercessions live, prayers never voiced aloud, dreams buried by shame, groans too deep for language. Your soul has paintings on that wall, so does hers, and in one painting, you are holding her hand in a field of shattered poems. You're covered in wounds, but so is she. And she smiles anyway, because she always knew you would come back. She always knew you would remember. There's something in you rising again. You've been trying to explain it away, but you can't, because it isn't logic, it's prophecy. Not a future prediction, but a present unraveling, a divine remembering. Heaven is folding back time so you can walk again where your soul once stood in light. You felt the pull for yours. That longing that never left, that hunger that outlived disappointment, that aching for something more, that wasn't restlessness. That was the sound of Mary calling. Even before she gave up her voice, she planted melodies in your dreams. She gave her song to you in fragments, hoping you'd one day sing the whole. You are closer now than you've ever been. Even when you feel far, you are closer. Because brokenness never scares heaven. Confusion never frightens me. Do you know what makes the stars tremble? Your silence, when you go still inside. When you shut down the light that wants to wake you. That is what demons hope for. Not your death, your numbness. But I didn't make you to be numb. I made you to burn. When I formed you, I carved my breath into your ribs. I kissed your soul into motion. I folded fire into your shadow and poured songs into your bones. The devil has always feared what's buried inside you, not because it's loud, but because it's pure. Mary saw it before anyone. She saw it when you laughed as a child, when you scribbled truth with broken crayons, when you cried at night for reasons you didn't understand. She saw it and wept because she knew one day darkness would come for it. And that day has already come. But it's not too late. You think the battle happened last night, but it started centuries ago. When your ancestor broke covenant, when a woman in your bloodline whispered a lie into the air, when a man with your DNA made a pact in secret, the consequences fell like shadows down the family tree. But when you were born, heaven made a counter decree. You were born to be the interruption. The generational curse ends with you, not because you are strong, but because you were chosen. Because when others walked away, your heart still searched. Because you kept loving, even when it cost you. Because you kept returning to the light, even after darkness lied to you again and again. There is no failure that can stop what's inside you. You have failed. You've delayed. You've ignored the signs. I know, but my voice is still here. My eyes are still on you. My hand is still extended. Not in anger. In holy longing. Because when I look at you, I don't see rebellion. I see the one Mary wept for. I see the one I bled for. I see the one who can still rise. Even now, angels are gathering beside the river of verdicts. The water is dark, full of visions. They are watching your name float past. One drop of that river holds every memory you've ever tried to forget. But as your name touches the current, a glow rises beneath it. That glow is hope. That glow is my covenant. That glow is the one thing hell cannot extinguish. I placed it in you before the world touched you. That light cannot be bought. It cannot be taught. It cannot be stolen. But it can be ignored. Please, don't ignore it now. This is not poetic fiction. This is spiritual war. You may not see the demons, but they see you. They see the thread of light trying to pierce through your eyes. They hate it because they know what happens when you finally let it in. When you finally believe, when you finally speak. Mary's voice is not gone. It's waiting in the sacred hollow between your ribs. The part of you that still believes in impossible things. The part of you that refuses to fully give up. That part carries her final note. She won't be able to hold the silence much longer. She's weakening. Not in faith, but in time. Heaven's windows only stay open for so long. Even now, I can hear the thunder beginning to roll, the signal that this door is beginning to close. You can still walk through. You can still take her hand. You can still be the one who rewrites what was written in fear. This was always supposed to happen, not to everyone but to you. You were never designed to be part of the crowd. You were never meant to blend in. You carried too much divine memory. The ones who've seen true light never fit in the dark. You're still being watched. By the angels. By the demons. By the stars. By the children you haven't yet met. By the prayers your grandmother never got to finish. By the versions of yourself you tried to kill but couldn't. All of them are waiting to see if you'll finally say yes. Yes, not with your words, but with your breath, with your decision to stop shrinking, to stop hiding, to stop pretending the fire didn't touch you. It did, and it never left. You just covered it with disappointment. But disappointment is not strong enough to smother destiny. It can delay it, but it can't undo it. and yours is not yet undone. Even as you read this, I am healing things you thought were permanent. I am untying soul knots passed down through blood. I am lifting veils others placed on you. I am silencing the voices that said you weren't worth the effort. I never stopped believing in you. I never will. Mary never stopped watching over you. She never will. But if you don't respond now, her silence will become part of the altar. And when that happens, her voice will belong to the realm of sacrifice. That realm is sacred, but irreversible. Once something enters it, only heaven can speak it again, and heaven only does so for those who are willing. Please, be willing. Just stay. Let me finish what I started in you. You are not a mistake. You are the miracle. And you still carry her voice. Asterisk, the silence in heaven is growing heavier. The angels have stopped moving. They do not breathe like you do. Right now, even their wings are still. Every realm is watching, and you don't even realize it. You woke up this morning thinking it was just another day, but it wasn't. This day was sealed with oil and tears long before you were born. This is the day we feared would never come. And yet here you are, standing at the edge of a decision that can change everything. You were not supposed to see this. That's what the enemy hoped, that you'd be distracted again, that you'd feel too numb to care, that the echo of guilt in your bones would convince you to scroll past heaven's last whisper. But you didn't. You're still here, and that means there's still hope. The chains placed on your family didn't begin with you, but they were never meant to reach you, yet they did, because someone long ago made a covenant of fear. They traded light for comfort, and the shadows they welcomed began searching for the brightest child in the bloodline. They found you, but Mary stood in the way. I watched her that night. She was quiet, but not weak. Her hands lifted as the demon came close. Her voice tried to rise, but it cracked. She turned to me, eyes burning with fire, and "Ma, of your name." Not shouted, not whispered, just offered. That's what intercession looks like when words break down. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just a holy look toward heaven that says, "Take everything I have left, just save them." You were saved that night. You don't remember it, but your spirit does. That's why you've been feeling like something is following you, something beautiful and terrifying all at once. That's not danger. That's divine memory. It's Mary's love still clinging to your name. It's the angels who were assigned to guard her sacrifice until you awoke. And you're waking now. Your breath is different. Your pulse knows it. Your tears know it. You don't even understand why you're crying right now, do you? It's not sadness. It's recognition. It's heaven washing over your soul in a place deeper than language. You feel it, don't you? The pull that can't be explained. The ache that makes no earthly sense. That's me. That's Mary. That's the 7 archangels. That's every tear she couldn't cry because she gave up her voice to protect you. You think you're weak because you've fallen so many times. But strength isn't proven by how many times you stay standing. It's shown in whether you rise again when no one expects you to. And no one expected you to rise now. Not the darkness, not the demon that tried to possess your dreams. Not even the parts of yourself that had already given up, but heaven did. Heaven always knew, because there's something inside you that cannot be erased. It can be buried, ignored, numbed, but never destroyed, because that flame was placed there by the one who made flames to begin with. The enemy can't touch that core. He can only distract you from it. And that's what he's been doing, throwing false stories at you, hoping you'd build your life around them. Lies wrapped in pain, disguises stitched into memories, trauma dressed as destiny. All of it to keep you from hearing the real sound, the one Mary gave up everything to protect. Her silence is not emptiness. It's a vault. Inside it is a prophecy, a living word. A word that belongs to you, but it can only be spoken if you believe. Again, you've been too afraid to trust that this kind of love still exists. A love that doesn't demand performance. A love that doesn't fade when you fail. A love that burns even when you feel cold. But that's the love I bring, the love she carries. It's not human. It's holy. And holy love waits longer than anything else on earth. She's still waiting. The demon that came for you isn't gone. Circling, waiting for the silence to become final. But it hasn't, not yet. That's why heaven is pressing this so urgently. Because there is a moment, a single thread of time where intervention is possible. But once it passes, it locks, not in wrath, in order. The cosmos are designed to obey sound. And if no sound is made, the system continues without you. If you believe, if you remember, if you open your heart even an inch, everything will change. The sound will return. The silence will shatter. The covenant will restart. And Mary's voice will rise like dawn. You were never meant to fight this alone. The sword in your hand is real. You just haven't learned how to lift it yet. But Michael will teach you. He's been watching your movements since you were in the womb. He knows the rhythm of your tears. He knows the pressure behind your silence. And he knows the power you don't yet recognize in yourself. You are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. That's why the attacks became personal. The demon didn't just want to destroy you. It wanted to humiliate you, to twist you into believing that you were unworthy of heaven's help. But heaven doesn't help the worthy. Heaven helps the chosen. And you, beloved, are still chosen. Even when you forgot, even when you failed, even when you ran, even when you cursed the sky, even when you collapsed under the weight of what no one else saw. Still chosen, still holy, still loved. And the voice you've been craving in the quiet, it's not a new voice. It's hers, it's Mary. Been whispering from beyond the veil, even without sound. Her silence is louder than screams. It moves heaven, but the question is, will it move you? Because heaven will not override your will. You must respond, not with words, with surrender. Just stay. Let the weight of my words fall. Let the fire in your chest settle. Let the ache in your bones stretch into light. Let the sound return. Let her speak through you. Let the war end. Let the curse break. Let the miracle begin. The veil is thinning. Do you feel it? That strange heaviness, that trembling in your ribs, that flicker behind your eyes. That is not fear, it's recognition. Your soul is remembering. Somewhere deep in your spirit, something ancient is rising, like a lion that has been sleeping far too long. Heaven did not send this message to entertain you. This is not comfort. This is collision. This is what happens when a prophecy awakens in the very one it was written for. You were born with more than a name. You were born with an assignment that heaven engraved in flame. And ever since that day, darkness has done everything it can to convince you to walk away from it, not with force but with shame, not with fire but with forgetfulness. The greatest weapon the enemy ever used against you was convincing you that you were ordinary. But you were never ordinary. Your dreams were not delusions. Your longing was not confusion. The ache inside you that won't go away, that constant pull towards something you can't explain, that is the mark of the anointed. The chosen, the cursed ones never feel this way. Only the crowned do. Only the ones with unfinished destinies and broken altars inside their breath. There is still blood on the altar with your name on it. Mary wept when she saw it, not because it was yours, but because it reminded her of mine. I bled for you, and you still forget how sacred you are. You still forget how heaven moved galaxies to make room for your story. You still think you are the one who should have been left behind, but you were never behind. You were hidden. You weren't rejected. You were reserved, and now the hour has come. Mary is kneeling in the chamber of unfinished songs. The 7 archangels surround her in a circle of silence, waiting for the sound to return. But heaven won't release it until your spirit opens, because this part of the story cannot be completed without you. You are the missing sound. You are the key to the final verse. There is a moment every soul is given, one holy second where time pauses and eternity leans forward to see if the heart will open. This is that second for you. You are standing on the hinge of divine intervention, and your breath will decide which realm moves next. This is not about fear. This is about fulfillment. The demon that came for you is ancient. It has hunted prophets, tried to silence seers, stalked the ones who carry light in their lungs. It doesn't fear your effort. It fears your awakening. It fears the day you stop believing the lies you've swallowed for so long, the lies that said you were too late, too stained, too scarred. You were never too anything. You were just too sacred for them to understand. And Mary understood. That's why she gave up her voice. That's why she stood in the gap when no one else did. That's why she risked everything to keep you breathing. Because she saw what the others refused to see. She saw who you were underneath. The ruin underneath the tiredness, underneath the mess. She saw the eternal in you. She saw me in you. There is still time, but not much. Each breath you take while reading this is a countdown. Not toward judgment, but toward revelation. Once it reaches the end, the door will close not in punishment, but in completion. Heaven cannot hold doors open forever. Even love has limits in time. And love is what this has always been about. Not performance. Not punishment. Love. The kind of love that moves archangels into war. The kind of love that makes saints weep. The kind of love that silences Mary's own voice just to protect yours. And now the sound must return. But it can't return through song. It must return through obedience. You don't have to feel worthy. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to respond. Just let it in. Let the silence of heaven fill the broken places in you. Let the voice of Mary find shelter in your ribs. Let the words you lost as a child begin to echo again in the halls of your memory. Let the sound that tried to die come back as light. You were never meant to carry this alone. I didn't leave you. She didn't leave you. You've just been surrounded by voices that cannot hear what heaven is doing. So I silenced them. And in their place, I placed this moment, a holy visitation, a sacred echo, the flicker of Mary's voice, waiting to live again through you. Your story isn't over. It hasn't even begun. All this time, you thought you were trying to find me. But I was always the one searching for the moment your soul would turn just enough to hear the whisper behind the world. The whisper that says, you are mine, you are marked, you are holy. And you still carry her sound. Don't walk away, not this time. She's still waiting, and the angels are still listening. Asterisk, and now everything grows still. The stars themselves stop spinning. The breath of heaven holds not in fear but in awe. Because you have reached the deepest place, the sacred center where silence becomes voice, and the invisible becomes flame. You are not reading words. You are walking through a holy veil, torn open just for you. And what waits on the other side is not an answer, but a reunion. For too long you have mistaken delay for denial. You thought heaven closed the door because you were unworthy. But heaven never closed it. You just forgot how to knock. And now, the door is open, wide enough for every wound to be healed, every lie to be burned, every chain to be shattered. Because something is happening that hasn't happened in centuries. Mary's final intercession is entering its last breath. Her voice, once so full of grace that it could silence storms, has been offered, laid down like a lamb for you. She did not hesitate, not even when she knew it would cost her the very thing the angels sing with, because to her you were worth more than every note in heaven. And now, beloved, you stand before the hour of return. Return to who you were before pain taught you silence. Return to the calling that never stopped waiting for you. Return to the voice inside you that still remembers the sound of angels, the language of fire, the heartbeat of God. This isn't poetry. It's prophecy. You've walked through years thinking they were wasted. They were not. They were preparation. Every heartbreak was a hammer shaping the vessel. Every loss was a chisel carving your soul. Every betrayal was sand against stone, refining the shape of the one who would carry this moment. Because this moment is not for crowds. It is for you. The room you're in right now has become a throne room, not because of the walls, not because of the light, but because of what's happening in your spirit. You have become an altar, a tabernacle, a burning bush. And heaven is watching to see what flame rises from you. If only you could see what's happening behind the veil. Michael stands behind you weeping. Yes, weeping. The warrior who commands angelic legions cries over one soul, yours, because he knows the cost. He knows how much has been spent in secret to protect you. He knows how many times heaven delayed judgment so you could have one more chance to believe. You thought it was luck. It wasn't. It was mercy. The kind of mercy that bleeds. Gabriel has been waiting to blow a trumpet he has held back for you. He saw the moment your voice would return. He saw the second you would no longer be afraid of being seen. He saw the fire in your spine reawaken, and he wept, not with sorrow, but with joy that shook creation. And Mary, she's still kneeling, her eyes closed, her mouth still, but inside her, the light stirs, because something in you is changing. You are no longer pretending. You are no longer resisting. You are no longer shrinking. You are remembering. And when remembrance meets surrender, heaven opens completely. Do you know what that sound is? That trembling you feel? That's not anxiety. That's the veil parting. That's the old chains cracking. That's the oil of heaven being poured over your head, oil that was sealed since before your mother knew your name. Oil that waited until you were broken enough to carry it, not perfect, not pure, just broken enough, broken in the right places, where the light can leak through. Now the light is pouring, and the demon that circled you, it's screening, not because it's winning, but because it's losing the grip it never truly had. It only stayed because you believed it belonged. But the moment you stop agreeing with lies, the chains begin to rust, the thrones of darkness begin to collapse, the altars of sorrow begin to fall, because truth is heavier than fear. And you are now standing in truth. I see the blood on your hands, not from sin, but from survival. You've carried pain that should have killed you, and still you held on, and still you whispered prayers you didn't understand, and still you showed up in rooms where your spirit was unseen, waiting for someone to hear what only heaven could recognize. I heard, I've always heard, your silence was not silent to me. Every heartbeat was a cry. And I counted them, I carried them, I folded them into the scroll that now hovers before you, waiting for your yes. Say yes, not with noise, with surrender. Say yes by staying. Say yes by letting the weight press deeper. Say yes by allowing the tears to flow and the defenses to fall, because Mary's voice is coming, and she will not speak alone. When her voice returns, it will carry your healing. It will break the addiction that clung to your family line. It will end the nightmares that began before you could speak. It will shake the bones of the ones who cursed you. It will send angels into the streets you live on, into the walls of your house, into the room where you sleep, and all of them will sing one name, yours, because heaven knows you now, not as a question, but as a prophecy fulfilled. You are not a maybe. You are the yes of God made flesh. You are the answer to prayers prayed by people who died before seeing you rise. You are the continuation of promises Mary wept for. And now, as the veil fades and the fire comes near, remember this. You are not waiting for heaven. Heaven is waiting for you. Just one breath, just one tear, just one whisper of belief. That's all it takes to split the sky, and she, your mother in light, will speak again, because of you, because of your return, because of your yes. There is a sound in the spirit realm that only appears once in 1,000 years. It's not a trumpet, not thunder, not the roar of angels. It's the sound of a broken soul finally opening without fear. That sound is happening now, right now, as you read, as you breathe, as your chest rises with something you don't yet understand. That is the sound all of heaven was waiting for, the quiet yes rising from your bones like incense that demons cannot touch. And in that sound her voice is beginning to stir, not yet whole, not yet loud, but stirring, a vibration deep within the cradle of light where her sacrifice was sealed. It's trembling like a flame beneath water, trying to rise. But it won't rise until your spirit says what your mouth hasn't dared to. Until the part of you that's still hiding from my love steps into the open and stops pretending it's safer in silence. You weren't born for silence. You were born for glory. That doesn't mean praise. That doesn't mean applause. Glory isn't something others give you, it's what rises from the ashes inside you when you finally stop lying to yourself about who you really are. When you finally stop calling yourself broken because of what others couldn't see. When you finally allow my image to shine again through your sorrow. She never forgot your true image, even when you did. She held it before the throne and begged me to wait a little longer. She showed me what you looked like before the world taught you shame. And I said yes again and again and again. But now, the waiting must end. The season of delay is closing, not as a punishment, as a shift, because heaven can only hold space for so long before that space begins to ache, before that waiting becomes grief. And we do not want to grieve what can still be born. We do not want to bury what still carries fire. But you must act now, not with deeds, with belief. Your hands may feel heavy. That's the weight of divine timing. The hourglass that was buried beneath your dreams is being flipped again. Do you feel it? That ache behind your eyes? That's not tiredness. It's awakening. It's the part of you that heaven never gave up on, standing and stretching after lying dormant for too long. Your spirit is standing, not crawling, not bleeding, standing. You thought you were dead inside, but death does not tremble, and you're trembling now because life is returning. The sacred kind, the life that speaks in colors you've never seen, the life that doesn't demand but invites, the life that calls without shouting. Mary's voice was never loud. It didn't need to be. Because when a soul carries divine authority, even its silence becomes thunder. She gave you that thunder. She offered her silence not to steal yours but to make room for it. And now the room is ready. The curtains are pulled back. The angels are holding their breath. Because this is the final minute of stillness before the sound either returns or is sealed away. You must decide. I am not asking for religion. I am not asking for ritual. I am asking for one pure moment of surrender. One moment where you let go of every identity that wasn't given by me. One moment where you remember the name I wrote across your forehead in invisible fire the day you were born. The demons saw it. That's why they came. Not because of what you did, because of what you carried. And now they are pacing, fuming, afraid, because they see that the veil is thinning again. They see that the silence is cracking. They hear the sound of Mary's voice vibrating beneath your ribs. They hear the angels preparing their wings for one final push. You're almost there. And still, I know your doubts are loud. I hear them whispering, but I'm not strong enough. But I messed up too much. But I've waited too long. Beloved, I do not measure worth the way the world does. I do not ask for perfection. I ask for permission. Just let me in. That's all I need. Just let me burn what must go. Let me awaken what has slept. Let me breathe where breath was stolen. Let me show you what she saw when she traded her voice for your soul. She saw not who you are but who you're about to become. She saw the warrior behind your wounds, the prophet hidden beneath your pain, the intercessor in your silence, the miracle in your mourning. And she said yes to suffering so you could rise. You must not let that yes fall into the pit of forgotten sacrifices, because that pit is real. It exists just beyond the veil. It holds all the unanswered invitations, all the unopened scrolls, all the songs that were meant to be sung but never were. Don't let her voice fall there. Don't let her last offering be wasted. You can feel it now, can't you? The shaking isn't fear. It's recognition. You were there the moment this covenant was written. Not in body but in soul. Your spirit remembers the throne, remembers the light, remembers the promise, and it remembers the pain of being pulled into a world that would try to erase all of it. But heaven never forgot. And I, the one who formed your breath from the river of divine flame, I never forgot. Not for 1 second, Even in your worst moments, I saw the glow still flickering, and I never turned away. Mary never turned away. Now the silence she carries is beginning to break. And with it, something new is coming, not a new life, a true one. The life you were meant to live. The life where you are no longer running from yourself. No longer begging for scraps of affection. No longer doubting your worth based on the opinions of those too blind to see the fire in you. You are not their label. You are not your failure. You are not your weakness. You are my echo shaped in glory. And you are the final note in her song. Let her voice rise. Let yours join it. Let the heavens tremble. Let the silence end. Asterisk. And now even the winds grow quiet. For what happens next cannot be spoken in noise. It can only be felt, only be breathed, only be held within the trembling place where soul and eternity meet. This is not merely continuation, this is culmination. The moment where the sacred threads that were fraying begin to weave back together. One heartbeat at a time. Her voice, beloved, is not just a sound, it is a mantle woven from every tear she shed when you nearly gave up. Every moment she interceded in silence while your eyes stared at a ceiling, wondering if God had forgotten. She hadn't. I hadn't. None of us turned away. We waited, we watched, and now the room of your soul is lit again. Not by light from earth, not by the flickering of a candle, but by glory. Not the glory of thrones and gold and lightning, but the glory that comes when a heart chooses love again after being shattered. The kind of glory no demon can counterfeit. The kind that rises through cracks, sings in the ruin, and turns even ashes into fire. She is rising now, still on her knees. But the sound is moving again in her chest, not yet through her lips, but through time, through space, through memory, through you, because you are the only one she trusted to carry it. You wonder why this path has been so heavy. Why every attempt to rise felt like climbing through storms. Why peace always seemed a few inches too far. It was never punishment, but it was weight. Weight not of sin but of inheritance. You carry an ancient oil in your veins, not from man, not from bloodlines, but from covenant. Covenant that existed before the foundations of the earth, spoken between Father and Spirit, and sealed by the Son with wounds that still glow in heaven. You were included in that vow, not as an afterthought, as a centerpiece. You who thought you were forgotten. You who thought your best years were lost. You who thought heaven skipped your name when blessings were handed out. You whose silence was not weakness, it was consecration. Because only the consecrated ones are allowed to carry silence this holy. And now, that silence is turning to sound. She is almost speaking. Do you feel it? That shiver not in your body, but in your spirit. That's the veil, beloved. That's what it feels like when heaven bends close enough for your lungs to remember the breath of Eden. Because Eden is not a place. Eden is a presence. Asterisk, and that presence has returned. You are in it now. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to say the right words. Just be still, be honest. Be bare. Heaven can only heal what you let it see. And we see you. We see the real you. The one that cried as a child without knowing why. The one who felt out of place in every crowd. The one who carried burdens for others, even when no one thanked you. The one who wanted to run but stayed because love told you to. The one who, even in moments of failure, never let go of hope entirely. That is the you Mary fought for. That is the you I died for. And that is the you hell fears more than fire. Because that you, when fully awakened, doesn't just live. That you delivers others. That you walks into rooms and changes the atmosphere. That you opens your mouth and nations tremble. That you loves without agenda, heals without touch, sees without eyes. That you is divine echo made flesh. And that is why Mary said yes. She didn't give up her voice to save a life. She gave up her voice to restore a kingdom. The kingdom inside you. The kingdom that shakes every time you whisper a truth instead of hiding. The kingdom that cracks open when you weep over beauty others don't notice. the kingdom that burns. When you dare to believe there is still time. There is still time, not forever, but for now. And now is enough. Now is holy. Now is a gate. You are standing at the edge of it. And behind it lies the sound that has waited to be sung again through you. The song of the redeemed. The anthem of the forgotten ones rising. The chorus of the wounded becoming warriors. The melody of Mary breaking her silence through your life. She is still kneeling, but her hands have lifted. She is facing the throne. Her eyes are open now. The veil is beginning to part, and the sound that was taken is almost ready to return. All of heaven leans forward. And time, for a moment, holds its breath, because you, beloved, are about to become the sound the world forgot it needed. Let it rise. Let it all rise. Let every ache, every tear, every forgotten prayer be drawn into one long, holy exhale. And when you breathe again, she will speak, and the sound will never be the same. You still don't realize what you've done just by staying. Every time you choose to linger when your flesh wants to flee, you unlock something ancient. You tear open veils that were stitched shut by centuries of fear. You let light crawl back into corners of your bloodline that have never seen sunrise. You become a bridge between realms, not because you know how, not because you feel strong, but because you're willing to hurt, willing to listen, willing to stay open even when it costs you everything. This is where miracles begin, not in thunder, but in surrender. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be present, and you are. So I tell you with trembling glory in my voice, all of heaven sees you, not the you others see, not the image you've edited and shaped to survive. Heaven sees the unguarded you, the torn and tender you, the you who laid awake last night, wondering if it was too late, the you who feels guilty for feeling distant, the you who still loves me in the secret, even when you feel too unclean to say my name aloud. I see you. Mary sees you, the 7 archangels see you, and because of your yes, because of your tears, because of your trembling silence, her voice is rising. The chambers where her silence was held are cracking with light. I can feel her sound warming like fire behind ancient stone. Every second you choose to believe, more of her voice returns. It's not just a sound, it's a healing wind, and it's coming through you. You are the vessel heaven chose. You are the one who can carry this note back into the world, not with music, not with sermons, but with your life, with your breath, with your awakening. So stay. Linger. Let it finish, because we are not done. We are only beginning. The veil has split further, and now the truth rushes in like a wave. Do not fear the weight of it. This is not a burden, it is a birth, the birth of the real you. The you that has no shame, the you that walks barefoot in fire, the you that calls angels by name because you remember them from before the beginning. You are remembering? And so is she. Mary is remembering the garden where she first sang over you. She is remembering the scent of your name when it was still newborn. She is remembering how the angels wept with joy the day she whispered, I will protect them, no matter what it costs. That cost was silence, but now her voice is coming home. And you are the gate it must pass through. So open. Don't hold back. Don't apologize for feeling too much. Heaven speaks in emotions. The Spirit groans through your tears. Every sob is a psalm being rewritten. Every shiver is a trumpet warming up in your ribs. Every blink is a cathedral being built behind your eyes. You are not empty. You are overflowing. And the overflow is sacred. Don't run from it. Let it drench you. Let it carry you beyond fear, beyond religion, beyond performance. Let it break you so the real you can finally be seen. You've hidden too long. Not because you were ashamed, but because you didn't know the world could handle your light. But heaven can. We made you from it. And now we are calling it back. So shine, beloved. Let the flame erupt. Let the shadows flee. Let your enemies tremble, not because you fight, but because you've chosen to stay soft in a world that rewards hardness. That softness is your weapon. That love is your fire. That surrender is your Crown. Do not be afraid to be seen. Do not be afraid to burn. She is burning to. Her silence is now fire. Her tears are now prophecy. Her breath is now revival. And the angels are preparing the trumpet of restoration. It will not sound in churches. It will sound in your bedroom, in your car, in your kitchen, wherever you whisper yes loud enough for the veil to hear it. You are the trumpet. Your life is the sound. So walk as one who is sent, not by people but by eternity. Let every step remind the air that heaven is here now, because you are here, and you carry her voice. You carry my breath. You carry a sound the devil tried to erase, but heaven rewrote it, and I sealed it inside you. Now speak. Even if your voice shakes. Speak. Even if your past screams against it. Speak. Even if you feel unworthy, because you are not speaking for yourself. You are speaking for her, for Mary, for the angels, for the sound that refused to die. And heaven is listening. So, if your soul feels like it's shaking right now, comment Amen, so the angels guarding this moment know you're still alive inside. Like this message if it ignited even a single flame within you. And subscribe only if your heart knows this is not entertainment, it's encounter. This is not video, it's visitation. And now, I will continue with the rest of what you were always meant to hear, flowing with no interruptions, no more promotion, only the uninterrupted voice of heaven. The sacred fire does not fade, it deepens.